Okay, we're starting now. Whew. Hey y'all, how's it been? It's been a minute since I've been on my channel. How you doing? Hope your day's going well. Thank you for clicking on my video. My name is Madison and sometimes I make videos. I'm trying to be more consistent, but you know what? I'm here today. I'm here today for a video that nobody asked me to make, but I feel like I got some things to say about this topic. I got some things to say, I got some things to share, so here I am. Okay, so for today's video essay, I'm gonna be talking about why hookup culture is toxic and is actually ruining people's lives. It's a hot take, but you know what? Sometimes you gotta stand firm on some things. This is something that just came to me randomly in I was visiting my family. I don't know, next thing you know, I was hanging out in my room and I just got struck. Something just hit me. I had a moment of clarity for some reason, just out of nowhere. Thank God I had my laptop with me so I could just type it all out. But hookup culture is something that is shoved down everyone's throats all the time, everywhere, just non-stop. It's the new sexual liberation movement of our times, is just hookup culture. You know, we've become a society where we do not value sex in the same way as generations past once did. We have a completely different outlook on sex. Honestly, I don't know if it's for the better. I just don't think hookup culture is really panning out to be everything that we thought it was gonna be. You know, they're selling us this idea of hookup culture, and I don't think people are really getting what they thought that they were gonna get out of hookup culture, or they are, it's just marketed in this, oh, you're gonna, this is just the way to find yourself, you need to explore yourself sexually, this is how you're gonna know what you like, what you want. These are kind of the big ideas that they sell us through hookup culture. Sex can be meaningless, sex can just be just sex, just a good time, it's nothing more, we don't need to catch feelings. I don't know, I'm seeing the cracks in the ideology behind hookup culture. I'm seeing the way in that it's actually harming people. It's leaving people worse off than they were before they started hooking up and participating in that type of lifestyle. And it's incredibly toxic. And that's what this video essay is gonna be about. So let's get into it. Okay, y'all. Okay. So, point number one as to why hookup culture is toxic and is ruining your life is that hookup culture is a waste of time. Period. It's a complete waste of time. Hear me out. Here's why. We have a limited number of years on this earth. We are human beings, not gods, which means we do not live forever. I don't say this to be dark. I say this to just say it how it is, exactly how it is, something we all know as mortal human beings, that we do not live forever. We will not be on this earth forever. And that means that our time here is finite. It's not infinite, it's not unlimited. The reason hookup culture is a waste of time is because the more time you spend messing around with people who have no intention of being with you in the long run, that means you will have less time to spend with your soulmate whenever you find them. If you spend 5 years participating in hookup culture, not staying tied down, you're going to have 5 less years to spend with your partner whenever you meet them. Another example is, if you spend 20 years of your life participating in hookup culture, right? You think that this is the way that you want to live forever. You don't want to be tied down. You think monogamy is not it. Let's say one day after you've spent these 20 years participating in hookup culture, you finally decide that you actually want a family and that you want children and that you're done messing around. You now have 20 less years to spend with your children. you will now be in their life 20 less years, because you do not live forever. You don't just gain time. You cannot rewind the clock and get your precious time back. Time you spend wasting on meaningless sex with strangers is time that you are taking away from people who could enrich your life. Is time that you are taking away from looking for those people who will enrich your life, who will be permanent figures in your life, who you can build a family with, who you can build a foundation with. Oh my God, wait. What is, y'all, whoo, this light got me fucked up. Y'all, this fucking lighting, are you kidding? Like now the sun decides to come out. Literally, what the fuck? Dude, what the okay, y'all, I'm gonna have to come up close, cause look, if I go back, y'all see that? Do y'all see that? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to stop the essay, but I'm gonna have to come up real close and personal. It's gloomy outside and the sun was gone. It was good lighting. It was everything. Oh, we're up close and personal. I need a wider lens. Okay, if the lighting's fucked up, I'm sorry. It's gloomy. I'm trying my best, y'all. I'm trying my best. Okay. Back to what I was saying. This may not seem like a huge deal when you're in your 20s and when you're young, and when you think that, you know, the reality of your mortality isn't really setting in. You know, you think that you're gonna live forever. Like, it's like Mac Miller says in one of his songs that, like, you think you're a god till you run out of time. Sorry if I don't have pipes, y'all, so if that sucked, I'm sorry. As you begin to age, and as your friends and as your current family members either begin to pass away or they start to spend more time with their own immediate families, the true loneliness that is inevitable with long-term participation in hookup culture will begin to set in. If your end goal in this life is to be alone and to not have a partner or a family to turn to as you age, then continue to participate in hookup culture. Because let's think about it for a second. What is the end goal of hookup culture? Like, what is the main agenda that everyone who participates in hookup culture has? To have sex, right? Okay, you had sex with that person, right? You hooked up with someone. Then what? Then, you know, some time passes, you feel the urge to have sex again, as humans do. Then what? Okay, so now you have to either meet someone else to hook up with, or, you know, you entertain a friends with benefits person, you know, you're like a little situationship, and you have sex with that person, but you're not committed to each other, you know, you guys hook up, that's it. Okay, you had sex again. And after that sexual encounter is over, then what? You are just as lonely after the sexual encounters as you were before them. The only difference is that you had sex. Because that really is the end goal of hookup culture, right? To hook up, to have sex. So once you've had sex with someone, what comes after that? You already completed the goal, which was the hookup. So then what? You're just as alone after the sex as you were before. The only difference is you had sex. But you can have sex with someone who's committed to you. And after you have sex with your partner, you still have your partner. You still have someone who values you, who loves you, who cherishes you. You still have someone who will look after you, who will take care of you on your worst days. And you got to have sex. But with hookup culture, where the end goal is to only have sex, you have all that sex, and at the end of the day, what do you end up? You end up alone. Because hookup culture isn't about building a foundation, committing to someone. It's about hooking up. So if you want to end up alone, then keep having these multiple meaningless hookups, because at the end of the day, it does nothing but waste your precious time that you cannot get back, because you will one day die. And it takes away time from people that you could have poured into. It takes away time from maybe your future children. Maybe right now when you're 25, you think, fuck children, I don't want them. But maybe you feel different when you're 45. Maybe you'll feel different when you're 55, when you're 65, when you're 75. Maybe you'll wish that you had had that partner, but because you wasted all of your precious time prioritizing hookups, prioritizing meaningless sex, when you could have been having that same kind of sex just with a loving partner, you're gonna look up and realize, damn, where'd all my time go? I wasted it, and now I'm alone. And now I have less time to spend with those that I love, or I have less time to build a family that will love and cherish me. Damn this fucking lighting, dude. Y'all, I'm sorry, please put up with it for me. Fuck this fucking sun. It literally was gone. I'm sorry, maybe I'm screaming too loud. It was literally gone. Anyways, to finish off point number 1 as to why hookup culture is toxic and ruining your life, it's toxic and ruining your life because it's a waste of time. And there's nothing that hookup culture promotes that you cannot do in a loving, committed relationship. And I just think you get so much more out of a loving, committed relationship. You get companionship. You get, you build a family with your partner. And even if you choose to not have children, you still build like that familial bond in other ways. There's just so much more that you can get out of being in a loving, committed relationship than you can hookup culture. And it's for this reason alone that I just see no benefit to it. Reason number 2 as to why hookup culture is toxic and ruining your life is that it's dangerous. Point blank, period. Like, and here's what I mean. We're gonna have, yes peeps, we're gonna have that talk right now. Okay. Hookup culture is dangerous because, did y'all forget about STDs? Did everyone just forget about STDs or STIs or unexpected pregnancies? Did all y'all forget about that? I feel like this point doesn't need much explanation, but according to the numbers, it does. So we're gonna have a discussion about this because apparently, did none of y'all have to sit through gym class in middle school and have your fucking PE teacher, explain to you what STDs and HIV/AIDS were? Cause I have that memory like seared into my brain, just burned into it. Cause I was like, dude, what the fuck? Like, you can die from having sex, like you can get diseases, what? Like, did none of y'all have to sit through that? In middle school, in high school? Like, I know if you're watching this video, you have access to Google or the internet. You could look it up. Like, come on, people. Like, is it just me, or does Gen Z think that we no longer need to use condoms to avoid STDs or to use birth control to prevent unplanned pregnancy? Because the numbers, y'all might say that you do, that you're practicing safe sex, but the numbers argue otherwise, bitch. The numbers are not lying. Gen Z, we make up roughly 20% of the population, yet we account for 50% of all new STD cases in the United States, according to the CDC. 20% of the population accounting for 50% of new STD cases. That's a little skewed. Like, that's I don't know if it's supposed to be like that. Now granted, hear me out, granted. We gotta think about this from all sides, all layers, okay? Granted, Gen Z is the age range between 25 to 10 years old, depending on what exact, like when the exact cutoff is you're looking at. So arguably, Gen Z has all of the young adults and teenagers in it just fucking around compared to other generational groups such as baby boomers who are now in their 60s and their 70s and may not be having as much sex as Gen Z is, because they're older. That's natural. You should think we understand STD so much more. Our medicine is so much more advanced. We talk about sex so much more. Don't y'all think that our numbers should be less? That 20% of the population shouldn't be accounting for 50% of STDs? Shouldn't we be getting better? Because the statistics on the CDC, we're seeing a lot of rise in STD cases, actually. We're not seeing STDs go down and cases drop. No, we're seeing percent increases in a lot of cases of STDs. Why? Because y'all are acting dumb. Like, y'all ain't wrapping it up. People are not taking the time to wrap it up. People are not taking the time to have these conversations around STDs with their partners. People are just fucking people who are just fucking people. And it's like, the more partners you have and the more partners your partners have, the higher statistically, like, I'm not just making this up to like be mean, y'all, like, you are statistically at a higher risk or a greater risk of contracting and spreading STDs. And the numbers are reflecting how hookup culture is spreading STDs and STIs. It's not getting rid of the problem. You know, I think people choose to forget how serious an STD can be. Yeah, some are curable. You know, some STIs and STDs are curable and you can be fine afterwards. But they're not all curable. Let me remind y'all, there is no cure for herpes, genital or oral. There is no cure. There is no cure for HIV/AIDS. It maybe doesn't have to be a life sentence, and there's a lot of medicine to manage it and to maybe contain it and stop the spread, but there is no cure for it. Hepatitis B and hepatitis C, they can cause lifelong persistent infections and lead to chronic liver disease or chronic liver failure. HPV, which is an STD that has been shown to cause cancer later on in those who contract HPV. Chlamydia can make it difficult to get pregnant later on if it goes left untreated. You know, chlamydia is something that people look at as like, oh, it's a lower STD, it's not something to worry about. Yeah, if you know you have it and you catch it, but the longer the problem goes on, the more you're damaging your fertility. Syphilis and gonorrhea do not sound fun at all either, and you can pass on syphilis to your baby. I bring all this up because STDs and STIs are not a myth. They exist and they pass between real people having sex with other real people. I will never understand how anyone, male or female, can have sex with someone that they just met that day and someone whose sexual background they have no information on. I'm gonna ask y'all a series of questions, okay? Just to, get your wheels turning, to really think about how dangerous it is to be participating in this type of hookup culture lifestyle. If you just met someone to hook up with, how can you be sure that they don't have something serious like HIV that they could pass on to you? Now, I'm not singling out HIV in these questions to be like, to like push any shame or stigma around HIV. I'm not doing that at all, so please don't take it that way. So I just want to make that clear. I'm asking all these questions and I'm gonna say HIV, but insert other STD name there, okay? So, back to the questions. If you ask someone if they have HIV and they tell you no, does that mean that they don't have HIV? What if they just don't know that they have HIV yet because the symptoms have yet to present themselves? You can show no symptoms and have HIV. You can show no symptoms and still spread HIV. Not only that, but if you just met that person, how do you know that you can trust them? You ask them, do you have HIV? And they say no. But how do you know that it's not secretly a yes? Like, there's been cases before where this man was choosing to spread HIV and he was not telling his partners and just fucking around trying to spread it for some reason. There are people out there like that. Not everyone with HIV, okay? Not everyone. Don't y'all cherry pick and put words in my mouth. Not everyone. I'm just using this as an example to talk about. Okay, but that's a very real reality. Human beings lie all of the time. All the time. Do you really think that a stranger that you just met is incapable of lying to you? Should you really trust someone that you just met that they don't have something like HIV or herpes or HPV? Should you really trust that person and have unprotected sex with them? And for what? For what? Just a few minutes of pleasure? A few minutes of pleasure can deliver you a lifelong disease in the form of an STD. And is that worth it? Is a few minutes of pleasure with a random person, with a friends with benefits, with a stranger, is a few minutes of pleasure worth that risk? Because participating in hookup culture, that's what it is. It's a risk. you are putting yourself at risk for contracting something serious, for contracting an STI or an STD, the more sexual partners you have. If you want to consistently have sex and not put yourself at that high of a risk of contracting an STD or an STI, you could just be in a committed monogamous relationship. It's been proven and shown that those who are in committed monogamous relationships have lower risk of contracting an STD. The only better option than that is abstinence. But the more partners, the more sexual encounters, the more partners your partners have, that's so many more opportunities for someone somewhere to have an STD that they don't know about, that they passed on to their partner, who's passed on to their next partner, and then you have sex with that partner, and next thing you know, you have it too. And last question, another food for thought question. How many of y'all that are actively participating in hookup culture, how many of y'all are even asking that question to your partner right before you have sex? Like, how many of y'all are actually having conversations surrounding STDs with friends with benefits, with situationships, with people you just met on Tinder, at the club, whatever? How many of y'all are asking that question? Hey, do you have an STD? It's kind of a mood kill, isn't it? It's kind of a mood kill. Because y'all ain't asking the question because it's a mood kill. No one's asking the question and you're just leaving it to chance. And that's why 20% of the population is accounting for 50% of all new STD cases. That's why literally go on the CDC website. I'll put screen grab right here. Chlamydia is down, but only by 1.2%. But gonorrhea is up by 45%. Syphilis cases are up by 52%, and congenital syphilis is up by 235%. That means passing on, syphilis to your child, women carrying children and then giving birth to children and passing on syphilis to them. That's up by 235% in 2022. In 2022. It should not be up that high. Were y'all born in a barn? Wrap it up. Wrap it up. If you're gonna be participating in that lifestyle, wrap it up. Doesn't matter. Hitting it raw, it should be reserved for relationships. It's dangerous. It is so dangerous. And it's the proof is in the pudding, y'all. The proof is in the pudding. And you know what? I'm gonna end this point here. I gave y'all the gym teacher chat that apparently y'all no one else paid attention to other than me, but whew, you know what? This is just another reason why hookup culture is toxic to participate in, because it's dangerous. And you know what? Health is wealth, and your physical health is something that you shouldn't be gambling with like that, because it have very serious consequences for very meaningless reward. So yeah, that's all I gotta say about that point. The biggest and most annoying lie that promoters of hookup culture will tell you is that it's a way in which people can find themselves, that you need to hook up with a lot of people to find yourself, to explore your sexuality, to really figure out what you like. Like that's why it's a good thing to promote hookup culture. That's why it's a good thing to participate in, so that you can find yourself and get to know yourself better. Ain't that a fucking lie? Ain't that a fucking lie? Okay, so let's get into this point. I read a beautiful quote the other day in this book titled Make the Most of You by Patrick Lindsay. Let me find it. It's this little book where it's like title and an excerpt about, like, I don't know, just how to make the most of you. It just got filled with great sayings, the truth about certain matters in life. This quote, and he includes quotes from other people, and so this quote was from someone named George Bernard Shaw, and they said, "Life isn't about finding yourself. Life is about creating yourself." And that is so true. Like when I read that, I highlighted it because like it really stuck with me, in that like that's the damn truth. Like what does that even mean? What What does that statement even mean? I need to find myself. I just need to find myself. I need to work on myself. I need to find myself. Find yourself. You're right there. I'm looking right at you. Find yourself. You lost yourself. You're right there. Boom, found you. There you are. Like, what does that even mean? I need to find myself? If you always walk through life trying to just find yourself, hoping that you stumble upon who you really are, you're gonna be looking forever. You're gonna be looking to find yourself forever, because you don't just find yourself, you create yourself. The true way that you find yourself or figure out your passions is by forcing yourself to try new things, to try new food, try new activities, travel to new places, meet new people, you know, forcing yourself to start a project and finish it to completion to see if that's something that you want to spend your time on. Like, that's how you create yourself. That's how you discover what your life's purpose is, what you want to spend your time doing. If you just aimlessly continue to walk around life hoping to one day find yourself, you're gonna be looking forever. You're right there. There is no, you may not feel completely connected to yourself. You may feel a little bit lost, but the activities that you choose to partake in, the little small habits, an enormous impact on creating yourself, on knowing who you are, on being sure in yourself, on feeling one with your soul. Like, it makes a huge difference. And there's this common trope that people who promote hookup culture is that, you know, you need to hook up. It's better to do that because, you know, it's better to explore your sexuality. Like, you can't explore it with someone in a committed relationship. You know, that you need to find yourself, that if you don't explore all these different avenues, then you might miss out on something and you'll never really find yourself. And here's the truth of the matter, y'all. I'm gonna tell y'all exactly how it is. Here's the truth. Are y'all ready? I have never, ever met a woman who truly found herself or her life's purpose in the sheets of some random man's bed. And vice versa for men too. I have never met a man who found himself or had his life's epiphany by hopping into bed with random women. I never found them. And if anything, I would argue to say that, if anything, bed hopping, having sex with a bunch of random people, participating in hookup culture is the quickest way to lose yourself. If anything, they got you. You got, okay? You got sold on this idea that if you did these things, that you would find yourself, but you do all these things, you have all this sex, you explore yourself, you aimlessly look to find yourself, and what do you end up? Alone, confused, and like, lost. Like, what the fuck is going on? Because no one finds themselves in someone else's bed. No one finds themselves through having sex. It's a lie. It's a sham. It's not true. It's the quickest way to lose yourself, to lose your dignity, to lose your sense of being, to be offering up your body in that many ways, in such an intimate way to that many people, is the quickest way to like sever your connection with your soul. Like, I'm speaking from the heart here, people. Like, I hope you get what I'm saying, you know? And it's such a crock of shit that you need to sleep with people and explore your sexuality with a ton of different people. I mean, you can do that with a partner to find yourself. That's a crock of shit. Like, we are human beings. We are more than just sex. You watching this are more than just sex. You are more than your sexuality. You are more than whatever label the media will try to sell you as. You are an emotionally complex human being, okay? You have many interests, who's gone through life and has built this life filled up with experiences. That's a human being, not just sex. Sex is not how you're gonna find yourself and find your life's purpose. You are so much more emotionally complex than that. And it is idiotic to think that sex and exploring that is the only way that you're just gonna be connected to yourself. Absolutely not. Sex is one very small, very important, intimate part of life, but it is not everything. And if you think that you are going to find yourself and find your life's purpose by hooking up with strangers, I hate to break it to you, but you got another thing coming. And it's not an epiphany or closure about what you want to do with your life, about the kind of person you want to be. You're not gonna find that. You're not gonna find that having sex. There is more to you than that. There is more to human beings than that. It takes more than just exploring yourself and finding yourself in bed with other people. It takes more than that to feel accomplished as a human being, because we are more than just sex. This idea of promoting hookup culture under this fallacy of, you know, this is a way to really find yourself. I think it's an incredibly toxic message that confuses our youth, that makes them, you know, devalue their body, devalue their physical health, waste their time, keeps them spinning their wheels, keeps them alone, isolated, angry, confused. All this goes to say for this point is that there are much better ways at creating the life that you want to live and figuring out your true passion in life than jumping in the sheets of a random person's bed. If you think that jumping in sheets constantly with random people who are transient in your life, people who do not care to stick around for the long run, if you think that that is how you're going to find yourself, then you're gonna have a rude awakening. You're gonna have a rude awakening because, like I said earlier, no woman I have ever met in my entire life said she found herself and figured out her life's purpose having sex with a random man. No man has ever found himself. If anything, men tend to lose themselves into this lifestyle. They tend to lose track of their time. They tend to lose their sense of self, and they end up in their 50s, 60s, 70s, an alone bachelor without children, without family to turn to, without a family to take care of them. Because it goes back to point number one, that hookup culture is a waste of time. I want to tear down this idea completely that you need to hook up with random people to find yourself. You don't. I'm telling you, I didn't do that. I'm talking about from personal ass experience here. I've never entertained or participated in a random hookup or had sex with someone I just met. And you know what? I feel more secure and stable in my sense of self, in my self-identity, than tons of other people that I can think of in my head that I've met, that I've participated in hookup culture. I created and found myself A-okay, just fine, without having to participate in that lifestyle, and you can too. Okay, y'all, so I severely underestimated my ability to talk and my long-windedness, and I decided to split this essay into 2 parts because I just felt like an hour-long video of me talking was just a bit too much even for me to handle. Oh, hey, you wanna come say hi? Got my mama got my mama Mapes. Hi, babies. You come say hi? Okay, I'll put you down. Although you jumped up here, girl. You gonna get mad at me? Anyways, before I was very kindly yet rudely oh my god, oh my cats, oh my goodness, parents. Here's cat number 2. Let's see, are you gonna say hi for the camera? No? Okay. Now I have no cats. Anyways, this is part 1 of Hookup Culture is Toxic and Ruining Your Life. Here's why. If you enjoyed or my first 3 reasons resonated with you, then definitely click wherever. Maybe it's on this screen, maybe it's on the next screen. I don't fucking know. I'm still figuring out YouTube. If you want to watch part 2 and listen to the rest of this essay, it's going to be uploaded directly after this one. So go ahead and please check that out. I hope you enjoyed this video. And yeah, hopefully I'll see y'all in part 2. Bye.